Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Unboxed Live. I'm your host, Rob Gagne, and sitting next to me is Nate Beck. Nate, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me. This is exciting to be able to be on Unboxed Live. I'm loving this.
Nate is one of our sales representatives. He reaches out to retailers all across the nation. And in fact, some of you guys might have even spoke with Nate on the phone. So obviously, we're here sitting down, and what we're really looking for is what's going on this summer, and more importantly, what do we got going on for dads this weekend? What can we get dad that he's really going to like, he's going to enjoy, and it's going to further his passion in cigars? Nate, what would be a great gift that you would receive from your kids for Father's Day that also promotes your passion?
I've never gotten this as a gift for Father's Day yet, but I would love like a nice 3 to 5 cigar sampler from one of my local favorite shops. That would be the most exceptional way to spend a Father's Day, because then all I'd have to decide for Father's Day is which one of those cigars I was going to start first. Because Lord knows I'm going to be smoking several cigars on Father's Day, and to actually get a gift like that from my family would be fantastic.
Well said. Pretty simple. There's all sorts of options out there. You can get sampler packs. There's different companies that provide sampler packs. Like I got this one here, this Blackbird Cigar Company has a great sampler pack. If you want to switch over to that other camera so they can get an up close picture of this. It has pretty much everything Blackbird has to offer on that. Every single one of the cigars that they pretty much make. Blackbird, by the way, for those fans of Box Press out there, we have an exclusive interview with Blackbird Cigar coming up on Box Press. I talked to him. He's amazing. Phenomenal story. He even raps.
Really?
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's great packaging.
Yeah, I love the packaging. I think, to me, the packaging, when you're giving a gift and when the company makes this type of packaging, to me, then it elevates that gift level. Because like you said, if you grab the medium or the small humidor bag, you could easily put 3 cigars from a shop inside the small humidor bag, and that's a great way to give a gift. I think that's one of the best ways to gift wrap cigars. But more importantly, I just like getting cigars in general. So whether it comes gift wrapped already or put in above the humidor bag, that's essentially what I'm looking for.
That's what you want right there.
Now, where are you going to go smoke your cigars? Because it's summertime now. The restrictions have lightened up quite a bit. In fact, you and I went to a baseball game. We were sitting outside, beautiful night out.
It's perfect.
I was just thinking, you said it first, but I was thinking, and I was like, we should be smoking cigars right now.
And I think I actually suggested, and I'm sure get in trouble for this, but what if we had a cigar with us and we just snuck up to the very top row in the upper deck, made sure we were like wind coming at us, and just sort of lit them, kept them down here, and just puffed over the edge. I'm like, I bet we'd never get in trouble. Probably would, but it'd be kind of fun to give it a try.
Yeah, totally. Yes, this is going to be my first Father's Day as a father. So
that's right.
It's fun. I dropped my daughter off at daycare this morning, and they had shout out to Dapper Cigar Company, because they made onesies that say Dapper Cigar Company.
I love those.
And so I often dress my daughter in the morning, and I'm constantly putting on either the Dapper onesie or the Romacraft onesies. Shout out to Romacraft for sending me some onesies. And my wife is always like, why is she always in cigar attire? And I go, because I dress her in the morning. And so I put her in this Dapper cigar outfit, and I didn't know that they were taking photos of her with a bow tie on. And it said, and then they made like a cutout bow tie with her handprints that says, hands down, you're the best father. It really warmed my heart this morning to get a gift from my baby daughter. And it was so cool that she was wearing the Dapper onesie. So
I get choked up with stuff like that.
She had a bow tie and it said Dapper underneath. And I was like, this is so fitting.
Yeah.
So it was a highlight of my day.
That's so cool. And I'm at the opposite end of the spectrum. I was so excited to hear when Rob and his wife were expecting their first baby. I have 5 children. and I happen to have 5 girls between the ages of 14 and 19. So I'm on the other end of the spectrum. So I would say I'll be lucky to see all of my children on Father's Day in one group. But it's just another phase of life, and I love seeing my kids be able to spread their wings and have their own experiences. I think for sure I'm going to want to go somewhere, maybe on the water, bring a nice, comfortable chair, maybe something delicious to drink, something like this, perhaps. Get a shot of that. This is my absolute favorite Scotch. This is a love or hate one for most people, but we'll talk about that in a little bit.
Well, what are you going to pair with that?
I'm actually going to pair this cigar. This is the Joya de Nicaragua, Ontario, Connecticut. And I like to pair unique cigars with beverages. Often I tend to go counter to kind of the standard recommendation. So this is a very smoky, peaty, briny, almost a little bit salty Scotch. But on the second and third sip, as you get more, it gets this incredible sweetness that comes in. And especially with a cigar like this, with the Ecuadorian Connecticut wrapper, it's got a lot of strength and power behind it. So it holds up really well to this particular Scotch. But it's got a lot of hay and earth. And I always like to say floral in cigars is a big quality that I look for. But this is almost like got some flavors like walking through the garden where you've got that straw or hay mulch down on the ground. And then it's got this great vanilla kind of / cinnamony backbone with a little bit of coffee, like coffee bean that comes in on the back end, which I think really pairs well with the sweetness that comes through on subsequent sips of Lafroig. So you get that blast of smokiness, which I think pairs well with really any cigar because you get that just robust kind of hit when you take that first puff of your cigar. But then it's also going to pair nicely with the coffee that we brewed.
So are you matching strength with strength, or are you just looking for unique flavors to see if they'll pair up together?
I typically like to do unique, almost complementary flavors.
So strength with strength, right?
Yep.
So like if it's malty, you're going to try to look for a cigar that has like a lot of a lot of body,
yes,
a lot of leather, a lot of cocoa, a lot of just I don't know how else to explain body. If you don't know what body is, it's like the mouthfeel. Like when I say a cigar is chewy, it means it has a lot of body. Like makes my teeth stick together.
And I'll start with that. And then what I'll do is on the next go round, I'll pair something that's the opposite. Like I paired one of my favorite cigars was a cigar produced a few years ago by HVC Cigars called the La Rosa 520. And I paired that with a really crisp French rosé. And it was spectacular. And that's not a classic cigar pairing whatsoever. But the floral aspect of that cigar, the kind of the earthy mineral quality to it really pairs nice with the kind of chalky mineral aspect in French Provence rosés. And it was spectacular. It was unexpected. I kind of thought it wasn't going to work, but it works really, really well.
In the comments, if any of you have great either alcohol or any kind of pairing that you like, list it. Let us know what's interesting, because in fact, I went with the Chemex brew today. I went with the coffee. You brought this coffee in, Nate. This is an Ethiopian. You explain it. You know more about this bean than I have.
So this particular coffee comes from a producer in Washington, or a roaster, excuse me, in Washington called Olympia Coffee Roasters. They're out of Spokane. If you've never tried their coffees, be sure to check them out, source them. You can find them on Amazon, but I'd say order direct from the roaster because you're going to get that coffee super, super fresh. My favorite kind of coffee would be natural processed Ethiopia. And short explanation, what that means is that when a coffee bean is harvested, it's got a cherry, like little fruit surrounding that coffee bean. And they either wash it, so they use a water process to shed that coffee cherry and get to that coffee bean so they can dry it, or they allow it to naturally dry in the sun. And when that happens, all of those fruity, tangy, acidic flavors in that coffee cherry as they dry go right into that coffee bean. And then they shed that skin off. It's all done by hand. Dry those coffee beans. And when you roast it, some of those natural processed Ethiopias can have strawberry, blueberry, blackberry cobbler. This one's got a little hint of rose in it. And it's kind of mineral and a little bit earthy. It's just fantastic.
Goes well.
It goes really well.
I'm smoking the Adventura Queen's Pearl course, I've got a box in my humidor bag. Old, real old humidor bag, but it's been lasting me quite a while. And this cigar is one of my favorites. I've talked about it several times. It's just hands down, the presentation on this box is phenomenal. It's got the Adventure logo.
Such a cool box.
It's a metal logo. It's a metal band. This band is metal. It's unbelievable, the presentation on this. Phenomenal sticks inside. Cool. There's a cool postcard here that tells you all about the story. But obviously, you got those beautiful cigars inside there. Such a good cigar. Love this stick. Great cigar. Ecuadorian Connecticut wrapper again. Phenomenal.
We both ended up with cigars that have the same wrapper.
I know. And what's interesting is that I don't know if this is true. So this is really interesting. They say sometimes Connecticut, these wrappers in particular, have more tobacco and nicotine in them than, let's say, their counterpart Maduro or Sun Grown or whatever. I find that interesting.
I find that interesting too, considering the same concept applies to roasted coffee.
Mm-hmm.
The current trend, it's been this way for quite some time. Some of the best coffee roasters in the country typically roast the coffees pretty light. You get a lot more of that fruity acidity, complexity, because you haven't, essentially, like in cooking, you haven't over caramelized the flavors. Sometimes that extra caramelization can be absolutely fantastic and like almost on the edge of burnt. For those of you that are fans of the show Chef's Table, Francis Mallmann, who is an Argentinian chef, blackens a ton of his food, and it gives this really great blast of complementary flavors. But in cigars and in coffee, the lighter the roast, the more nicotine, or excuse me, the more caffeine that's present in that coffee bean. And I would say it's probably the same here.
I was surprised to hear that because, the number one thing when somebody walks into a smoke shop is like, I don't want anything too strong. And then they immediately gravitate to anything light in color. And I always have to redirect them and say, don't look at color. Talk to me about what you want to smoke, and I'll get you that flavor profile. That's a good tobacconist. They're gonna steer you in the right direction regardless of color. So,
case in point,
yeah,
we can highlight this one here. This is a Crux Epicure Maduro. Absolutely spectacular cigar. Chocolatey, rich espresso. And I would actually advocate recommending this cigar over the one that I'm smoking, this Hoyo de Nicaragua. This has got much more strength to it than this. So if you're looking for something that's not going to knock you on your butt and give you that nicotine rush, sometimes give these Maduros this. This one's a San Andreas, right? If I remember correctly.
I actually don't remember the wrapper on that.
I apologize. I can't remember on this one, but
probably
this cigar is really mellow and smooth, kind of maybe getting up towards medium. At least for my palate, I really enjoy this, and I can smoke this any time of day. So with a nice, like Central American acidic coffee that's got some real richness, the creamy chocolatiness of this cigar really works quite nicely.
So obviously we're putting together some ideas, right? You can get some cigars, you can get some coffee, you can get some scotch, you can get some whiskey, you can get some tequila. You can put together your own little gift basket for your Father's Day gift. Or if you're already a father, hopefully you're getting ideas of just how you want to enjoy your summer. Last summer wasn't the greatest summer. It was okay, wasn't the greatest. I would prefer to be, drinking what I like to drink, which is non-alcoholic stuff, but smoking great cigars and enjoying people's company. I think that's what this summer, the hope of this summer is for me, is to be able to enjoy company again.
Mm-hmm.
Have people over in the backyard, barbecuing, enjoying cigars. Not everyone's freaked out to interact with each other. And that's what I'm looking forward to. So putting together some things here. We obviously have some great sampler packs. Your local tobacconist is always going to have different stuff. And I recommend you picking their ear and trying to get them to understand what the father in your life would want, what they typically smoke. And if you don't know, guess what? It's okay. They're probably going to like some sort of sampler pack, whether it's handpicked from the humidor, from the tobacconist, because he or she's going to pick probably some of the number one selling cigars. They know who's coming in, who's smoking this, why is it popular, why are people raving about it. There's regulars that sit in these smoke shops and give them feedback all day long. And that's what they're there for. So utilize your local tobacconist. And if you're not by one, hop online, jump on some of these Blackbird cigars. Anyone small batch, they have phenomenal cigars. They make great samplers. Hit them up. Another cool sampler that I thought was interesting is this one from Carolina Blue. Another hidden,
super cool packaging.
Yeah, great packaging, great sampler. Here's my thing. I'll be honest. Before I sat down with Chris and interviewed him, I thought this whole thing was kind of a shtick. I'm not going to lie. Carolina Blue, it's named after the skies. He used to pick tobacco when he was younger from the fields in Connecticut and elsewhere. And I was just like, I haven't smoked these cigars. I don't really know what they're going to taste like. And I was just kind of like, here's another small brand coming up trying to make a name for itself. Who's making these cigars and are they even going to be worth my time? Boy, was I wrong. Holy crap. So what I like about Chris, and if you guys watch the Box Press episode that's coming up, it isn't released yet, but I'm kind of teasing this out. Chris talks
Dropping
about
a little gem there.
Yeah. Chris talks about he is super stringent on how much complexity a cigar has as you continue to smoke it. He's not a big fan of you only smoked half the cigar and that's where the complexity was. And then the other half was just pretty much, it fell off.
Yeah.
And it's happened before. I've smoked it and I've gone, I don't like this cigar anymore after the halfway point.
Sure.
And it can be common, right? Because the way that leaves are laid in there and how the whole transition happens matters. And they blend for that very specific reason. But sometimes it takes a lot of effort to blend a cigar so it has enough transitions all the way through. Well, when Chris blends a cigar, he sits down and he smokes the whole thing, just like a consumer. And I was like, that's kind of amazing. Not that any of these other blenders don't smoke the whole cigar, but this is what he's focused on.
Yeah.
So now when you go and pick
it.
up this sampler, you have 5 cigars of his to try, and you can see whether or not you like the complexity coming out of each one. I love this kind of stuff. This is what gets me excited about smoking another brand. And that's why it's so dangerous to be a cigar smoker, because my wife tells me, why do you need that cigar? Because I haven't had it before.
And we chuckle and go, why do we need any more cigars?
You don't, but you want to try them because
of course
this has amazing complexity from Carolina Blue. This has amazing flavor coming out of Blackbird cigars. I just want to try them all. I don't know what else to say. I want to try them all. I want to decide for myself whether or not I like them, and then I want to move on. And then I want to buy boxes of the ones I like.
I think we're similar in this regard. Rob and I both share the same affinity for seeking out new and interesting and unique flavors.
Yes.
So I'm always looking to try something new, and I can always have, this Hoyo de Nicaragua is a favorite. I always come back to a cigar like this. Another one of my favorites, the Plasencia Alma del Campo. Absolutely spectacular cigar.
Boxworthy.
Love this. Like boxworthy for sure. Smoke comical amounts of these. But I love trying new flavors. Part of what I like about spirits, about really good coffee, wine, anything is being able to experience a new flavor I didn't taste before.
Mm-hmm.
And to pair the two can be really, really fun. But one thing that I found, Rob, about cigars that's different than any other passion, no other enjoyment for me gives me as much relational time with the people that I care about than a cigar.
I know.
You can have cocktails and you can have good conversation, but at some point, if you have, 2 or 3 or what have you, start to get a little, maybe a little loopy, conversation maybe strays a little bit. The thing about a cigar is you tend to plant yourself in a chair, a nice comfortable one, and it allows you to have deeper, more meaningful conversations than almost any other pursuit.
Yeah.
It's the best way for me to enjoy time with my good friends. And I will choose that hands down over anything. Speaking of spirits, I've been a fan of Laphroaig for quite some time. It's my favorite, just peaty, smoky, salty, briny. Some people even say it has like the smell of a first aid kit or Band-Aids, and I think it's fantastic. But I learned a little tip the other day to bloom this with a little bit of water to open up all of those volatile compounds. And you can't really see it now, but when you first add that water or that ice cube, you can actually see really close up these little spirals of volatile compounds that'll kind of swirl around in the glass. And as you put your nose to it, it transitions from this smoky, peaty, and peat, for those who don't know, is on a particular island in Scotland called Islay, spelled I-S-L-A-Y. Their primary source of fuel to smoke their malt or to dry their malt, which is the grain that goes into whiskey, is peat. And it gives this really rich, smoky, kind of salty, because it's right on the ocean, quality to Scotch. But after the first sip, you get this beautiful vanilla sweetness, kind of this earthy, almost creamy, dare I say, coffee-like quality to it that pairs really nicely with the cigar like this, because that lightness of the Connecticut wrapper on the outside with that little bit more full-bodied Nicaraguan binder and filler in this cigar really gives you a whole complex range of flavors, that hay, that coffee bean, earth, and then there's this great vanilla, cinnamony sweetness, which is a huge flavor note for me that I look for.
Back when I used to drink, that was my drink of choice. And it sounds funny because you talked about putting the water in it. I always ordered it with 2 ice cubes. And I sounded like a total tool when they were like, what? I was like, neat with 2 ice cubes. And they're like, why the 2 ice cubes? And a lot of bartenders asked me, and I was like, well, it's, I could say a splash of water, but then I don't know how much water you're putting into it. And I don't want tap water into it. So I'm trying to get the purest form of water I can.
Correct.
Hopefully it's your ice. And then it would slowly melt and not disrupt the temperature of the whiskey or the Scotch.
Sure.
So it would stay at room temperature. It was phenomenal. And then I bought one of those Venturi aerators for Scotch or alcohol. Has a little magnet on it. So that 10-year, as soon as you take a sip of it, 10 seconds later, it has like another spike. That peat comes back after 10 seconds. I call it a 10-second ride. And I love that. But then it was fun because I didn't have to go out and buy a new bottle. I would take that Venturi aerator and I would pour in a dram or 2, send it through the aerator, and it would pull in a bunch of air, and it would make it like a 15 to 18-year rounded out, smooth, more caramely, more rich flavor.
Sure.
And get rid of some of that like Band-Aid, peat, high kind of almost peppery flavor.
Yeah, for sure.
And now I had, out of 1 bottle, I basically had 2 drinking experiences with just 1 tool.
Well, and I think a very kind of bold, robust whiskey like this actually pulls in a really nice pepperiness that sometimes some of the older, kind of smoother, more heathery or sweeter whiskeys or bourbons, Scotches or bourbons, it's just super delicious.
Yeah. We were talking about unique flavors. Grab that box of Southern Draw. Manzanita. It's careful, it'll open. It's the new release from Southern Draw. If you want something that's unique and has like this little bit of rye, like this tanginess on it, the Manzanita is hands down one of the best that I've smoked this year. I absolutely love this cigar because of that uniqueness. So this comes in a 10-pack. If a retailer near you has it, or if you go, I think they sell through Famous Smoke Shop as well online.
Sure.
Great cigar.
This is a great cigar.
I absolutely love
I was blown away when I smoked this.
Yeah.
Really, really good cigar.
And again, great presentation, right? The box is beautiful. You throw that in a 1-year humidor bag and boom, you're done. I don't know how many of you have people who smoke cigars, but don't do the best at storing them. And that's when the humidor bags come in play. It's like super easy to take a sampler pack, throw this inside the sampler pack and call it good. So much better to give somebody a gift that they can actually use.
Yep. And like you talked about in your how to open our humidor bags video, I've got the zipper slit open here. And then there's a secondary seal on the inside, and you basically grab the sides and you just give it firm pressure and run your finger all the way along the inside. Then you can fit, if you want to hand me that box of cigars.
It comes preloaded.
Let's grab it over the other. Oh, there you go. So it comes preloaded with the appropriate size Boveda. And this pack will last in this bag for 1 year.
Yeah.
When it gets dry and crispy, you take it out, you drop in a new one, you drop in your cigars. Both Rob and I use this size bag when we go to trade shows or when we travel. 12 cigars side by side in here, slid in the sleeve of our backpack. You're good to go. Just zip it up, done.
Yeah, it's just, from my perspective, working in retail, the number one thing that I had to solve was, do you have a humidor? No, I don't. Great. How can I get you the easiest humidor to use so you can enjoy cigars? That's where you want to spend your money. You want to spend more money on trying cigars. Humidors don't allow you to try more cigars. Humidors make it easy for you to collect those cigars.
Yes.
So you can try them. And that's why I love the humidor bag, because it's so cheap. And especially the large one, I can fit a whole box in there. No problem. It's super easy. I absolutely love it.
Speaking of that same example, got a text from one of my good friends who has started to explore the world of cigars more in the past year or so. Shot me a text yesterday and said, hey, I'm going to the tobacco shop. What kind of humidor should I get? He goes, I'm picking up a box of such and such cigars. I said, save your money, buy more cigars, pick up a large Boveda 1 year humidor bag, open it up, slide your cigars in, you're good for a year.
Yeah.
And now he can take it anywhere he wants. He doesn't have to, hoof an actual humidor in the back seat of his car. He can take this with him wherever he wants. So if I want to bring 2 boxes worth of cigars to a guy's weekend, because I know everybody's going to want one, I can throw what would you say, Rob? Toro size, 50 at least in here?
Oh, 80.
Yeah, it's a ton of cigars.
Look at that.
Easy.
I could fit 2 boxes in there, no problem.
And the nice thing with this, you just stack them on top of each other.
Yeah.
And now you've got way more storage than a humidor.
Whether you're storing in the box or out of the box, it doesn't matter. You just throw the cigars in there and you're good to go.
There's no seasoning.
No.
There's no messing with it.
And I've stopped worrying about my collection and just started using these because I love my cedar humidor. I love my Winador. I love all those things. I have multiples of them. So I'm definitely not saying don't invest in a great humidor. That's all part of the experience. When you open up that humidor, crack that lid, that cedar and that tobacco comes rushing in your face. I can't stop salivating. That's my favorite thing in the entire world. But when I want to get cigars because, hey, I don't know when I'm going to be able to get them again, they're limited editions, or I'm running out of room, go the easy way. Get a Boveda humidor bag, even a Tupperware container with a Boveda pack in it. Do
Correct.
whatever you need to do. Hot Ticket uses a ton of Boveda and Tupperware containers. Shout out to those guys. They collect a ton of cigars.
Hey, Matt, if you want to take your mouse and roll over that comment there from Julie and just click show, this is a great idea for Father's Day. Add a bow and a card, Father's Day, done.
It's a shameless plug, but the only reason we're saying it is because it's so easy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the type of person that wants to know all my options before I invest. And this is one of those. Like,
Correct.
Once I discovered this, I was like, why didn't I know about this sooner?
Right.
Same reason why you guys probably all use Boveda. Makes my life so much easier. I'm not having to refill my humidor all the time. I'm going to invest in Boveda because for pretty much less than $100 per humidor, I got protection for a whole year. That's what we're looking for.
Absolutely.
And then, of course, not a ton of accessories that I'm showcasing today, but obviously this is a Project Carbon. This is one that he customized for me. These are beautiful.
You got to show them the inside.
Beautiful. What do these run, Nate?
I think they're about $250.
Yeah, right around the 200 range. It has everything you need. The accessories are extra. You have opportunities here to store your
cutter.
Yeah, you got cutters and
Punch cutter
lighters
if you
in
want,
here.
lighter.
The nice thing too about this that I like is how evenly distributed the weight is. So the weight of all my accessories and then the cigars, and I love this. Beautiful, obviously. And then there's in the new one, there's a sleeve back here for you to put the Boveda, and it's perforated. Sure. It's unbelievable. I absolutely love it. Done. Or if you're going somewhere where it's super dry or you're worried about the humidity, all I do is I take my 1-year humidor bag and my cigars. Oh, that wasn't a good.
There you go. Slide that in. Just fold the top over.
And
Now
I'm
you're
good to
done.
go.
Yep.
Absolutely love this. This is one of my favorite tools to use. Great presentation. Everyone comments on it when I bring it out. This is one of those fun toys to have. And I know I did a review of this and I really botched up cutting a cigar with it, but it's the Le Lam. It's the French cigar cutter. It comes with a leather sheath, and this is one of my favorites because it's not only a knife that I always need a knife on me to open up boxes or do whatever, but this is a great cigar cutter. I've started to use this a lot more, and I absolutely love it.
A lot of friends on Instagram use this. In fact, I think his account is Alex Cigar Dandy.
Yeah,
we had him on an Unbox Live when you were out.
Yep,
when
Benny did.
When your daughter was born, Benny had him on. He uses one of those cutters in almost every one of his posts, and he's now got an entire following, basically just cutting as perfectly as possible to just peel the perfect cap off to leave the rest of that cap intact. It's beautiful. Yeah, they make a whole kind of spectacle of it. It's really cool.
So hopefully this helped with, let's see, my cigar pack. Thank you for joining, buddy. Definitely not intentionally ignoring you at all. A lot of comments here, so I appreciate it. If you're looking to give somebody a gift, get them a subscription to a monthly cigar club. It's phenomenal.
We've got cigarclub.com, my cigar pack. I love everything that I get from both of those. I've got my customs order coming today from cigarclub.com. My cigar pack order should be coming in the next week or so, and I can't wait because I do both the factory direct and the medium full subscription, and every cigar has been absolutely fantastic. Those guys are top notch.
Wonderful. Well, I hope this helped a little bit on what you can do for Father's Day, and more importantly, how you can set up your summer to have the best cigars all summer long.
Absolutely.
Nate, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Great coffee. Thanks for bringing it in. Cheers, buddy. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you.
Have a great weekend, everyone.